Well, everybody, it's the holidays. Happy holidays. It's Christmas today if you're watching this video, so Merry Christmas. But the day after, we have a huge game versus Washington, and I will say that many of you might be looking at me saying that and like, what the hell, what do you mean? It's not like we're going to struggle in this game. Look, the reason it's a huge game is because it's getting the Cowboys, number one, back on track, but number two, getting the division under lock and key. The Dallas Cowboys have yet to lock up the division, but they have secured themselves a playoff spot. But with either a Philadelphia loss, certain instances that put the strength of victory tiebreaker in Dallas's favor, or a Dallas win, we are looking at an inevitable Cowboys NFC East championship. Okay? Now, with that being said, there are a couple things that I'm looking at this game, and I'm saying to myself, okay, so Dallas is in the real thick of things to get the number one seed, and we'll talk about that momentarily. But before I get into that, if you guys could do me a solid favor and make sure to hit the like button, doesn't take too long to do, helps the channel out a lot. So I did get a chance to look at the new numbers, and a good chunk of you watching are subscribed, so that's fantastic. But if you are new, I do highly recommend subscribing if you haven't done so already, so that you can get the latest in Cowboys content from myself. Now, the Dallas Cowboys currently sit as the number 2 seed in the NFC by virtue of tiebreaker. Okay, they currently hold the second best record in all of football, tied amongst the several amounts of teams, with Green Bay being the only team in front of them that has a better record. So that's something that you should be proud of. You know, the Dallas Cowboys having one of the best records in the league. Now, what are we looking for? So if you're watching this on Christmas Day, be aware that we have to hope that Green Bay loses at least one game and they play Cleveland, who happens to be, if I believe, 5-1 after a loss. So if Green Bay manages to lose a game, the Cowboys, assuming they win the following day, will vault to the number 1 seed, and as long as they win out, they will be the number 1 seed. So if you're the Cowboys, I personally feel that you need to go for that. Mike McCarthy has talked about this in his press conferences. The first checkmark box is getting to the playoffs. Now it's the division. Once that's checked off, next is going after the number 1 seed. Now again, Dallas is just a game behind, and they own the tiebreaker over all the other teams in the conference. They have the best conference record. So there's that. Now, I would say this: if you want Dallas to attain the 2nd seed, we need to hope for at least one more Tampa Bay loss, because by beating the Cardinals, if Dallas manages to do that, we end up breaking the 3-way tie. So now it's just going to be us and Tampa Bay with the same record. But with Mike Evans out, now again, they are playing Carolina, so I highly doubt they're going to lose. But I think that there is a higher likelihood that the Packers lose a game, more so than the Buccaneers losing a game. So that's your rooting guide. You're hoping for at least one more Green Bay loss and the Cowboys to take care of business, okay? So, the Cowboys open up as, I believe it was, as I take a look, 12.5 point favorites, or 10.5 point favorites. I do believe they will cover that spread. This is the game where the Cowboys have to seriously open things up. The Cowboys have been playing on cruise control for the past couple days, and me and Simon Says, a fellow Cowboys YouTuber, if you haven't seen him, go check him out and follow his channel and stuff like that. But we talked about the theory that the Dallas Cowboys are purposely holding back on offense, mainly due to the fact that they don't need to go full throttle to beat these teams. But with Amari Cooper getting a bit, frustrated, and, you know, I think as fans we're getting frustrated with the fact that the Cowboys offense hasn't really done much in the past couple weeks because they didn't really have to do a whole lot. I will say that I think that now's the time to kind of start getting into groove of things. I don't want us to hold off until we get to the playoffs. I think these next 3 games, you start going full throttle into the playoffs, because you don't know where you're going to land. And I think that for Dallas, this has to be a proper tune-up game. Now, you still have 3 weeks to figure this thing out, and we're a day away from, well, when this video comes out, it will be a day away from when that happens. But overall, I do think that Dallas gets themselves right. I really do think Dallas is probably going to win by 20-something points. Now, again, this is still a division opponent, and we should not fret. Now, I did say on Twitter, and I go back to this, I did say I think that Washington will get Dallas in one of these games. But given the circumstances, Washington is probably going to be without Antonio Gibson, their leading rusher, a bunch of players on their team due to COVID, but also several other instances of injury and stuff like that. So really, they're really undermanned. And honestly, Washington's season is pretty much over with their loss versus Philadelphia. And that's what sucks, is that, like, you never want to see people, like, get hurt and stuff like that. But for Washington, they really could have won that game. You know, the fact that Garrett Gilbert, Cowboys legend Garrett Gilbert, stepped in and could have won them the game. But, again, Dallas has got way too much firepower to really be doing this stuff. They tend to win at home. Their only two home losses were the stinker versus the Denver Broncos and the near loss in overtime versus the Raiders. So I believe that Dallas will take this opportunity on Sunday Night Football to really open things up. And, you know, their defense just needs to continue playing at a high level. I think that as long as they can continue to do that, and they're getting, like, they're taking these games and they're using it to get better and better, and the offense starts clicking, this Cowboys team is going to be tough to beat. I do think that this team will win at least one playoff game, and then we'll see where the rest... And we'll talk about that when we get to the playoffs. But overall, I think that the Cowboys offense is playing a bit, you know, how you say, you know, they're holding back, I should say. Like, they're holding back. And I think that now is the week where you put this thing together and you start rolling into the playoffs. I hate, like, the one thing I do hate is that I don't want us to be like, okay, let's just save it for the playoffs. No, you need to get right. Tyron Smith's not going to be playing in this game, okay? So, for me, you really need to get your act together before the playoffs begin, because if not, you're going to end up screwing yourself. So, overall, I do firmly believe that the Dallas Cowboys will take care of business this weekend, and they'll get the division title, but I am more concerned about getting that game over with. Beat Washington, assuming that other tiebreakers didn't go their way, get the division crown, and now we'll take the next 2 weeks to talk about seeding, because there is a strong possibility that Dallas could end up with the number 1 seed, like I said. So I don't want to go on it much longer. I don't want to take too much out of your day to watch this video. So I will let you guys go. Let's hope for a win tomorrow night. Tomorrow night as of this video. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.